Nightfall comes to us all. Today, I'm going to encourage you and help you. It doesn't have to be nighttime for our world to become dark. Sometimes this happens gradually, and sometimes there is no warning. I remember the phone call my mom took when I was 13. I can see her holding the yellow corded phone on the kitchen wall. She looked serious, and she said to the caller, "Are you sure?" They were sure. That day, my dear friend Ray, only 15 years old, had been killed. It didn't compute. An empty numbness filled my head and my body. I mean, what? It was his first day riding his new mini bike, and the brakes failed. His mother had given him the bike before his birthday because she feared she wouldn't live to see him get it. She had cancer and was failing. She died 6 weeks later to the day. That year, there were 9 deaths in my neuro world. After that, I never felt the same leaving people. Sometimes I'd just cry saying goodbye. Tragedy changes people. It woke me up to the fact that we may not have tomorrow. We deal with a myriad of nights in this life. What is it that you're dealing with right now? Is it a death, either of a person or a pet, an impending divorce, a past divorce, a loss you never imagined, health issues, bankruptcy, betrayal, a child that has rejected you? Whatever it is the level of empowered thought that we summon that will determine the level of our suffering. I use the word summon on purpose because mature, rational, faith-filled thought is not usually our default. But then again, as we grew up, most of us didn't have trainers by our side to help us rise above whatever circumstances seemed bleak. We need trainers because we are so very human. We need trainers because life can be brutal. If growing up you did have that type of human guide, thank God right now, because your life has been easier because of it. For some of you, getting through the day right now is a huge challenge. No matter who we are, we all eventually face difficult periods of loss in our lives. It can feel horrible and painful, but it's okay. It doesn't feel okay, but it's okay. It's normal. We live in an imperfect world where this is to be expected. So today, let me give you some ideas about facing these times without succumbing to their threat. The little negative voice will tell you you cannot survive, that you are messed up beyond imagination, and even worse, that you deserve whatever you've gotten. Maybe it will tell you to kill yourself or let yourself die. This is not the voice of God. This is the voice of deceit. When we suffer, it can feel like punishment, but you aren't being punished. You are living life. A person recently told me how she had done so many things health-wise correctly, but now she had cancer. She wondered why this happened to her. The answer is that no one is immune from the uncertainties of this life. Even Jesus suffered in completely unfair ways. We know that bad things happen to good people, but when it's us, well, hold on. That's not fair. Strangely, I personally have never really thought, why me? Instead, I think, why not me? That kind of thinking may have begun way back with my friend Ray. So what do we do when pain hits for whatever reason? The first thing we can do to help ourselves is to make sure our thoughts about the situation are accurate and not blown out of proportion. This is where a friend, counselor, or spiritual leader can help give honest feedback. The Bible is packed with encouraging truths that give me what I need to answer those deceitful little voices I mentioned. I mean, let's see. Would I rather put my faith in the thought of my life is over or God can work all things for good? That's a no-brainer, but there's a problem. I was in a seminar once and we were handed out this list of like 25 things that were statements, and we were supposed to say true or false. Well, we all marked various ones, and then we were told they're all lies, they're all false. So intellectually, it seemed like, oh, that's probably true. But I stood up and I asked if they are false, but we still believe the false thing. What do we do about that? And the answer I got was profound, because this instructor said, you've been practicing the lie for a long time, so now you have to practice the truth until you believe it. So this is where the work of self-discipline comes in. We all believe in something. Choose truth that will benefit you and practice it. I'm going to say that again. We need to choose truth that will benefit us and practice it. It doesn't have to feel right at first. It just has to be practiced until it does. A new physical workout doesn't feel quite right or easy, but it gets that way in time. We need to build our spiritual muscle. Here is another thought. Let the people close to you know that you need support. Nobody can guess what you're going through. And when you tell them, don't expect them to fully get it. I don't fully get anybody, and nobody fully gets me. Still, they may understand more than you know. Let them know how they can help you. Spell it out. For me, I know that God is available 24/7 and really does get all of me, more than I do. That's super comforting. Later on my channel, I will share specifically about some of my nightfalls and how I not only survived, but grew stronger and more compassionate. These very worst times of my life have shaped me into a more insightful, mature, and caring person. They are why I'm doing these videos. There is purpose in your suffering. The painful part won't last forever. In the meantime, have your eyes wide open to what lessons are buried in the pain. It is time to move to higher ground in your soul. That may sound impossible or forever away, but it is possible if you set your trajectory toward transcending your circumstances. Dig in your heels. Tell yourself that you will take higher ground, and don't let some stupid little voice tell you otherwise. You are tougher than you think. God is present, and you can do all things with His help. No amazing spiritual giant has ever lived a life without strife and pain. Martin Luther King, Jesus, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, the list goes on and on. Milk your situation for all you can, or you will likely get a chance to try this step again in the future. There is no failing in human growth, just the repeat classes. Go for an amazing pass the first time around. I've always figured, if I have to go through this, I want to take anything good from it that I can. In closing, remember that you are a masterpiece in progress, perfectly lovable and full of purpose. Let your adversity brighten your light so that you can go and brighten the way for others.